Americans love their full-size trucks and SUVs. They're rising up about 80% of our entire new car sales right now, but these come with kind of a dark side to them. Statistics show that they are far more dangerous, and that these vehicles over the past couple of decades have gotten something like 10% taller and 20% heavier, and that pedestrian deaths are increasing. And people would argue that it's not all about the size of the vehicle, and I would agree. There's actually two factors here, one of which we're going to cover today, that it's distracted driving. But after our pedestrian deaths have increased 51%, Europe, with a high concentration of vehicles and cell phones and distracted driving, they've had a decrease of something like 36% in their pedestrian deaths. So what is it? Well, you go online, and I'm warning everybody, there is a movement to further regulate these kinds of vehicles and full-size SUVs because of the blind spots. You don't have to go very far to find people with pictures of children huddled up underneath the rear bumper or the front of one of these vehicles. But the tragedy is that over 50 children a week are backed over by a full-size truck or an SUV, typically playing in their own yard or on the sidewalk. But how much of a problem is the visibility really? Well, today I thought I'd find out with a tape measure and a chair. Now, most of the victims of these pedestrian impacts are toddlers, which is identified as being under 2 years old and mostly under about 37 inches tall. Well, coincidentally, this chair is a little over 38 inches tall, so it's going to be a stand-in for a standing 2-year-old. I'm going to lay this tape out in front of it. We're going to see how far until I can see the tippy top of little Junior's head here. And for each one of these, I'm going to give you a bird's eye view from the driver's seat of what I see over the hood. And we'll start with foot 0. Obviously, we're not going to be able to see any part of little Jimmy here. So let's move at 5 feet. At 5 feet? No. So let's try 10 feet. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. And yes, I can see little Jimmy's head here. In fact, a little bit more. I could probably see his whole head. So somewhere around 10 feet in this vehicle, well, it would work. It would be fine as long as you're paying attention. But part of the argument is that what if the kid is playing or riding a tricycle or something like that? So we've got another experiment. I don't know how tall a toddler is if they're sitting down, but I decided that I'd have it. This box is about 18 inches tall, so we're going to put it down there a little bit further and see if we can see it. We'll start here at 10 feet. And no, for a little toddler sitting on the ground, I would have to lift my eyes up to the ceiling. So here from eye height, can't see them. So let's move it about 5 more feet to 15 feet. I'm going to move this back. And sure enough, from the driver's seat, can't see little Jimmy. It's really close. If I lift up just a little bit, you can see little Jimmy sitting on the floor right there. Let's try 5 more feet. And I feel confident I'll be able to see the box from here, but I'm not sure, even with this wide lens, that you can actually see the box right now. And sure enough, there's the top of the box. So you can see little Jimmy at 20 feet. So you can see the difference. I wanted to see this for myself and share it with you. You can see the difference between a 2-foot tall, 3-foot tall toddler and one sitting down in front of your vehicle. And that's why I have been saying for a while, we are going to see more regulation on the size of trucks and forward collision warning, automatic braking, and front vision cameras. I see it coming. There's already articles being written about it in the news. There's already organizations that are pushing for this. It's going to become a bigger and bigger issue because that is a kill zone that could just be an accident waiting to happen. But another issue that they bring up all the time is backing over children. But modern cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans have backup cameras where you can see right down at the bumper, basically. It really shouldn't be an issue, and they've already addressed those safety issues as well. That is awareness of your surroundings. My toddler just fell over. So that's what I wanted to see for myself, to really feel how far you can see or not see over the hood of these vehicles. And I'll admit, 20 feet to see a child sitting on the ground, that's more than a little terrifying. And in addition to the sight lines, I do think there's going to be regulation or pushing for regulation to increase the slope up here to see better, to increase the sight lines. And if automakers don't start doing it themselves voluntarily, I believe it will become mandatory for them. But the second part of these fatalities we talk about, not just the accidents, I'll have to do another video on it, because it's not just about the height. It's actually the shape of the front ends of what they're putting on these full-size trucks and these full-size SUVs. But that's a video for another day. So if you're out there and you've got one, be safe, be aware, walk around, make sure your or somebody else's kid isn't in front of the car. Thanks for being here.